What's up, man?
Whoa, haven't seen that face in a while. What's going on?
Grown. It's a little darker. Got a little sun.
You got a little tan.
I was at the combine. You know, I was running my 40 because anybody can play in the NFL if you just go out there and work out in shorts. Apparently, that's all that matters is going out and running shorts.
It made this big deal about your arch nemesis having more invites than anybody.
Which one?
Michigan having 18 combine invites, and that was some kind of big deal that people made. But I haven't heard anything about how they performed. But yeah, the combine was this past week, and nothing.
We got a lot. We got a lot to talk about. We got combine stuff. We've got quarterback stuff. We got Steelers stuff because you guys are going up. You guys are like in a midlife crisis over there, and I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it.
Look, I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. We're not in no midlife crisis. Worried. We are on the verge of this. This is our rebuild year. Last year, our 10-7 is about as much rebuilding as we do, and so now we're in the process of building on our rebuild. So,
well, first things first. How have you been? Because we had to get our minds right. February is our month of vacation for people who don't know.
Yeah.
You were out at the Super Bowl in Cabo and doing all kinds of stuff. And then I was on a cruise with the wife.
Dude, like this wasn't planned. Like as much jet setting as I've done, I think I've been on the road or in the air longer.
You had some issues.
Yeah.
You had some issues on your travel.
Let
me piss you off just to start. Let's go ahead and get you pissed off to start because you was way too positive about the state of the Steelers right there. So I need pissed off Trai to just go ahead. Tell me a little bit about your travel or tell everybody else about
it. MFN electric cars can go to hell. All of them. Dude, we're in New York visiting some family. And we go to a Hertz and there's only electric car options at Hertz, which I've never heard of before. In this huge city of New York, where there's 1 million and plus cars, all they had at Hertz was electric cars. Some Kia, I forgot the name of the Kia Niro or something. Dude, they don't give you any way to charge you. First, I didn't know the infrastructure for charging ports or whatever, like public charging stations for cars, is horrible. Dude, it's not like going to a gas station, which I thought at this point and electric car production that the infrastructure for a charging station would be a lot better. Dude, on the way back from New York, our car had like 40 miles left, according to the meter that measures how much electricity the car has. And it's not a hybrid where you can put gas and electricity. No, it's just straight
flips
electricity.
Back and forth.
Mind you, we started out with 280. I think we drove 90 total miles before it went down from 280 to 40 miles. And then after driving 5 miles, the 40 miles went down to 2 miles. And so we had to.
Is it one of those things like you're playing the radio too loud so the battery gets
something like mind you, I had to do a lot of research about electric cars. I didn't go into this thing I was going to get an electric car. So, dude, it creeps down. Like the wife is terrified. Like the wife is like on pins and needles the entire time trying to get to the airport on time. Mind you, we have like a 6 o'clock flight. And so we got to leave at like 3 o'clock in the morning from my friend's house to get to a charging station to get enough juice to get to the airport. All we needed was 25 miles to get to the airport. Dude, so we go to this charging port and they ask you for your credit card. We plug our damn car into the charging port. We wait there for 3.5 damn hours to get 12 miles of electricity. And so we miss our flight. We got to go wait another 3 hours just to get enough juice to get to the damn airport. We get to the airport. There's only one damn seat left on the flight standby. So I just told the wife to go ahead. I'm at the airport from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. I don't get home until 9 o'clock that evening. All because of these damn electric cars. F you, EV. F you. I can't stand
Listen, you got to understand. I had just got off the boat from the cruise that we were on. and we're sitting in Tampa, and I looked down and you're FaceTiming me. I'm like, what is this dude doing right now? Where's he at? Maybe he hit a bet. We're gonna celebrate together. And you're sitting in the airport a couple drinks deep already, just waiting on
We made so many friends in the airport. I was like, they can't get much worse than this. So Tommy, my bartender, he was good peoples. Me and him, he let me vent.
You're gonna make this shift go by a little bit faster for me. So he just took it all in.
He took it all. He took the brunt of my frustration, man. He just kept on pouring, which I appreciate. Good old Tommy.
Let me
that was rough.
We kind of recapped. We have gotten together since you went to Cabo and the Super Bowl, and then we intended on doing something when I was in Florida before and during our cruise. But man, I shut it down. Let me tell you what. I drank every day.
Like every day, you was going
my
for like
liver,
2 weeks.
My liver still hurts. Like,
oh man,
I got off work on Friday and went out with my buddies here. Our flight is at 6 a.m. on Saturday. Never mind that. I'm on vacation.
Right. You're on vacation. I get it.
We go out and, oh, yeah, we're going to have a beer or two. No, that was 6. Left Saturday morning. Cruise left on Sunday. Cruise didn't get back till the following Sunday. We didn't fly back till Monday. So I was gone like 10 days. And from that Friday until Monday when we flew home, I drank every day. I mean, but not a single beer, Trey. Not Dude, one beer after Friday was considered.
Beer takes up too much space. It takes too long to get to
much on a cruise.
To the destination if you're drinking beer, you know?
Man, let me tell you what, I felt like an aristocrat sitting at this bar on the ship. I made some friends because, like you, I'm just out and about and I'm just meeting people. And I met some good folks, Mike and Jesse from Lake City, Florida. They were fun. We was up at the pool and I was like, oh, is this seat open? She was like, well, somebody just left because I think we're too loud for them. I was like, that's my people right there.
It's too loud? I like it.
That means you're ready to turn up on the Lido deck.
You didn't have any prudes out there just on the cruise, just wanting quiet. Who wants quiet on a cruise?
I will not sail Norwegian again because they all did. Or they didn't want it, but that's what Norwegian gave us. There was not music at the pool. There was no cha-cha sliding.
You did cha-cha slide? You did Cupid Shuffle?
They never played it too. They never played the Cupid Shuffle. They never played the cha-cha slide. I didn't get to do my wobble. There was none of it. They had none of it, Trey. Let me tell you, I was highly peeved.
What does the staff do? What did they just greet you and that's it? Do they bring you drinks at least?
No. Normally you walk on the boat, you got like a big tall pineapple drink they're trying to shove down your throat. And I'm like, shove it down my throat. I want it. I was like Bert Kreischer on this.
Pause. But
I'm like Bert Kreischer. I'm walking through, the security and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking of the mimosas we're about to get as soon as we get on this cruise. And I'm like, it's going to be the best day. And no, I sat on that boat just waiting like, can somebody please bring me a drink?
Oh, man. But you found a way. There's a will, there's a way.
I'm a man of resources. So we sat, met another nice lady. Her name was Sharon. She told me about this. It was called, I don't even know what it was called, but we had martinis all night long. I sampled every single one on the menu. The regular martini, the apple martini. There was this rum cake martini. It tasted like a milkshake, like a vanilla milkshake, and just got you drunk. And it was fantastic.
I like it.
I ate some food. The wife and I were on the Newlywed Game.
You did. You saw me. I saw the clips of that. That looked like it was fun.
Did I tell you how I had to get on the Newlywed Game?
How? What did you tell me? Tell the people.
So when you do the Newlywed Game on the cruise ship, they automatically take the people who have been married the shortest amount of time, the people who have been married the longest.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody who wants to be the middle couple has to compete against each other with crowd applause, choosing the middle couple. There was like 8 or 9 of us up there. So they was like, you're back in your cabin room. you want to give your significant other the signal that it's time. It's time to get it
It's
on.
go time.
So what do? Trai, let me tell you, I found the only pole in that room. Whip the shirt off.
Okay. You
Did
gave her a little
pole
bit of that
dance.
Magic Mike.
Got after it.
Okay.
Did some karaoke. So yeah, if they weren't going to play music, I was getting it done. I sang La Bamba. I sang a little Run Around Sue for all the sleuths out there. Don't be running around on your man, because Rich will get up here and sing Run Around Sue and call you out.
I like it.
So yeah, got some sun, but I was ready to be back. That's a long time away.
That is a long
kids.
time. Dude, were they happy to see you?
We didn't get the vent. Oh yeah, I was so happy to be back and come back to my daughter's birthday. So
yeah, just in
I was
time.
so happy to be back. I know your son's birthday too. So happy birthday to the little ones.
My man Jordy, yeah, he turned a big 7 yesterday. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm at that point in life, man. He's my last one, obviously. He's 7 years old. He's not gonna have any little brothers and little sisters. And he's at that point where you start to see that he's a legit boy and not like a toddler or like a little kid.
Yeah.
He's a big kid now. And everything that he does is big kiddish. So I had a moment while I was in bed yesterday when I woke up, right before he woke up, looking at all these pictures, getting a little allergy reaction in my eyes. Air got all thick, looking at all his pictures from the last 6 years, man. That's my little guy right there, man. And he's growing up on me. And the same with my daughters too. And this is the season of birthdays, because I got Jordy yesterday, March 4th. My daughter Ava, April 5th, and then my daughter Amaya is May 2nd. And me and the wife we have a legit mating season, and it all centered around.
I see that. Summertime,
March, April,
listen,
May.
Once the big fella went to the off season for football, it was on.
Right. No. It happened right around camp. So my body is made a certain way. Camp started July, August, and that's when we would conceive, because that's when I was at my horniest and most potent during that time frame that I was guaranteed.
Trai said, I got to make weight. You got to take one for the team. I got to sweat these calories out. Let's get after it.
Yeah, we definitely had a mating season. So all my kids are spring babies, and so we always March, April, May are always rather expensive months for us, but it's fun nevertheless.
Oh yeah, and my daughter turned 11, so my daughter's in 5th, my son's in 8th. So like we're getting through this school year. I was getting it, looking at her pictures and stuff too, because I'm like, man, she's about to be in middle school, he's about to be in high school, and then I'm like, I started getting a little emotional. First of all, thinking about how old they were, but then that transpired into, what if we had another one? And then I got like sad emotional, like, no, like we starting over again.
No, man. And plus you did it right. You can still play man-to-man defense. It's you got 2.
Yes.
We had to convert the zone once we had Jordy. And the boxing 2-1, So
I got a suggestion for you. This is how you handle that, right? One word. Nanny.
We've thought about that, right? I don't trust people.
I don't
trust anybody. So if my grandparents or my parents or her parents can't come, we've had babysitter from time to time, but I don't know if I want somebody that comfortable with my kids, or the selfish part, I don't want anybody else that my kids love as much as me or my wife. I don't want them being like, nah, daddy, my nanny's here. I'm good. Nah. You gonna want daddy. You gonna want daddy. You ain't gonna like this third stranger.
You know who needs some love though?
Who's that?
Russell Wilson. He's crying on Sierra's shoulder right now.
Dude, there are worse shoulders to cry on. There are worse shoulders to cry on.
He ain't using the shoulder either. He ain't using the shoulder. My guy's being fully comforted right now, I'm sure, and just all kinds of happy to be sent home from Denver.
Dude,
because you guys
talking about this.
You guys may have just fallen into, in terms of salary cap reasons, the Steelers may have just fallen into a gift.
Dude, I was telling, like, he's getting $39 million from Denver regardless. So this would be the perfect signing for us, the perfect veteran to compete with Kenny Pickett. I do think, and the reason I think I don't think it was necessarily his play that got him kicked out of Denver because, I mean, although it wasn't great, it was good enough. But it wasn't good enough to justify his salary. And I think the thing that kind of broke the camel's back was his personality. It's a little awkward. I mean, Broncos country, let's ride. I mean, you can only hear so much of that before just.
You remember the airplane video of him stretching, walking through the airplane, stretching his quads on the team plane.
But dude, like, he's a bona fide winning quarterback. He's a leader, and he's a Hall of Famer. I think maybe not first ballot at this point, but I think eventually he'll get in. And he still has some tread on that tire. So this is the perfect situation, not only for Pittsburgh, but for a lot of teams that are needing quarterbacks right now, because no team is going to sign him for more than the vet minimum with him making 39.
No, and if he's smart, he'll take that so that he can go in and actually have a legit shot at starting.
Right.
Because, and I don't think Pittsburgh would even be at the top of his list in terms of, if I'm Russell Wilson, I look at it and I look at some of the other openings. You have the Vikings who could pay him the vet minimum. You have Justin Jefferson there, in a easier division as well. Russell Wilson to me he is the prime example of somebody who stats do lie. When you put his stats in a vacuum and you look at his season, you think, oh, pretty good season. But when you watch the tape in the game and stuff like that, it was like a lot of it in inconsequential times. I mean, there was no pressure at the end of the season.
This is who we thought Kirk Cousins was for the longest.
Yes.
Was empty stat guy.
Dak Prescott.
Like the Russell Westbrook of the
But the
NFL.
stats are just the difference between Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott is their stats are really, really good. Russell's are still just average. I mean, they're
because he'll
slightly
throw for
above average.
He'll throw accurately. He'll have a touchdown. He just won't have a lot of interceptions. But you're right. And he can't. One of the things that helped him on early on in his career was the way he used to improvise plays. He could get out of situations running the ball. Now, he did do that a lot better this past year, but he's not nearly
what he was
before. And so he holds on to the ball extremely long. And so for any O-line deficient team, he's going to be an issue. And we are one of those teams that is somewhat O-line deficient. And so if you can't throw with timing, he's already a smaller quarterback. If you can't throw within the framework of an offense, which is his issue with Sean Payton can't stand him because he can't throw with timing. Like, he holds onto the ball way too long. And so Sean Payton is all about like operation, timing, throwing guys open in space. And Russell just hasn't had to do that, first of all. And
when we've talked about it, that's the downfall of a lot of these mobile quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, they don't throw with timing. They are not rhythm passers. They are see the guy come open and then pull the trigger.
Right.
And that's with Russell. He's also a victim of playing in that division, right? Like, you could have got by if you're Denver and Denver's roster with Sean Payton as the coach, if you're in the NFC South, if you're in the AFC South. The AFC West, when you're looking at Patrick Mahomes and you have to score points, and you're looking at what the Chargers are going to do with Justin Herbert now hiring Harbaugh, and even the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders hung 70 on somebody. I forget who it was at this point, but they just
the Chargers.
Bonkers. Yeah. So that division, you look at it and you're like, can you win the NFC South with Russell Wilson? And if you're Atlanta, absolutely. Like, I think Atlanta is a better fit for him than Pittsburgh. I think the New York Giants are a better fit for Russell Wilson than Pittsburgh. And then obviously the Minnesota Vikings, I think, would be the best fit because they have some salary cap things going on, but you're playing in a dome.
Because they don't have, you're talking about from a division standpoint.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I agree.
Also just, I don't think Russell's the guy that's going to come in and be okay with not playing. I mean, if you look at all of those stops, Russell Wilson steps in and he is QB1 on the depth.
He has to compete with Kenny if he comes to Pittsburgh.
I think he beats Kenny out. Yeah, but he's still going to have to do that, and there's front office implications there too.
Right. But I agree. But in Russell's defense, when he was in Denver, during the times in Seattle, he always had something. There was always a strong part of the offense when Seattle was having their most success. There was always something that they could hang their hat on. They had the Legion of Boom. They had a strong defense.
Mhm.
It's just like any quarterback who's ever won a championship. It's not always a quarterback.
Right.
They're the determining factor, but they usually have some part of that team that is either very good or elite. With the Chiefs this past year, the offense was not good. They got Patrick
No, it's
Mahomes,
the defense.
but the defense was number 2. Denver didn't have anything they could have their hat on. For the longest, defense has been a great defensive team. Their special teams sucked. Their defense sucked, and they had very minimal talent on the O-line in front of him, and he made things worse by the way he operated as a quarterback with those deep dropbacks and hold on to the ball for however long he did. But I mean, he had Jerry Jeudy, who has not really performed up to his expectations, and Cortland Sutton, who was a touchdown machine this year. He did great in fantasy, but outside of scoring touchdowns, that's all. That was it. So in his defense, he didn't have a lot of around him, but it was the right move to make, I think, for both sides. Denver had to move on. I don't think he was what the new ownership who came in after he was already traded for. They weren't his pick, or he wasn't their pick. I'm sorry. And then obviously he was Sean Payton's pick. And so I think it was mutually beneficial. That's a big old dead cap number though. They gotta deal with.
Well, and that kind of leads me to my next point is I think it was very savvy and smart of Sean Payton to do that because you now have, I think, 2 years of excuses to rebuild this team and look at ownership and say, no, I had to get rid of your mistake of bringing Russell Wilson in here. So they're not going to compete for the next year. They're going to stack draft picks and they're going to clear up their cap situation. And they're going to suck. Like they are going to be bad.
They're going to be bad.
And Sean Payton understands that. But I think Sean Payton also understands that this is probably his last job as an NFL head coach. So there's that whole political side of it too, and the gamesmanship of Sean Payton sees, okay, if I get rid of Russell Wilson this year, I now have my excuse for the next 2 years as to why, because you're not going to beat Kansas City over the next 2 years. Like you're not going to win that division. And now you have the Chargers and then whatever the Raiders do. So you know you're going to struggle to finish even third in that division anyways for the next couple of years. So rip the Band-Aid, have your excuses to why you need to go into your full rebuild. And then on the other side, you can say, okay, now I finally have my blank canvas, my clean slate. I got you out of Russell Wilson. Give me 2 more years now. Whereas if you bring Russell Wilson back this year, there's a better than not chance the owners could say, okay, we'll just get rid of both of you. And we'll suck for 1 more year. And so that's a whole other side and aspect of front office stuff and politics and not always playing the best roster. They're going to dangle Jerry Jeudy out there eventually. You know that's going to happen. Cortland Sutton. They're going to empty the cupboard. And this is how you excuse – the Browns did it. I watched the Browns do it with Hugh Jackson, right? They fielded a team. I would be surprised if somebody looked it up, and somebody can hit us up on Twitter or wherever and tell us for sure, but I would be surprised if the 1-15 and 0-16 Browns, I would be surprised if 60% or more of that roster played in the NFL after their tenure with the Browns. They just weren't NFL talent.
I got to give the Broncos credit for that. At least they identified right away and came up with a game plan. I mean, $85 million is a lot, despite the fact that this salary cap went up more than it's ever gone up. I think it went up like 25-30 million for this next season. But you see so many teams that are beholden to whoever they paid or whoever was their highest draft pick. They give them as much time as they possibly need at the detriment to their team oftentimes. And so
they're doing that in the 412 area code right now.
Yes, unfortunately. And so they were like, okay, we can't do this. Let's go ahead, like you said, rip the Band-Aid off, get rid of Russ. We get rid of some of the expectations that he came with. And so we can also move forward with a legit game plan, knowing that we got to build this thing up from the ground up. And so
every organization does it. I mean, there's been especially with the quarterback position, right?
Especially with the quarterback position.
When you draft somebody in the first round or draft them high, you give them every chance to fail before moving on from them. I think it's not as bad now as it used to be because of the rookie salary cap. I mean, do you remember
when you had to pay 40,
Sam
50
Bradford
million
getting
guaranteed?
54 million out the gate before taking a snap in the NFL? And how many rookie quarterbacks held out before even taking a single snap? And now you at least know, I have this for 4 years, 5 years, pick up your option, whatever. They're that on that cheap deal. But they give these guys every opportunity to fail when they're drafted high. The unfortunate thing is the guys who are not drafted high are not afforded those same
They're not
opportunities. And it brings me to my next question for you when it comes to Russell Wilson, because then I have something I have to direct towards my fellow Browns fans about this too. But worst trade ever in the NFL so far, in like history of NFL, is this Russell Wilson trade. Would you agree?
I mean, yes. I mean, I don't know if foresight. I was one of those guys that thought Denver was going to compete once he went there. I thought Russell had a lot left in the tank. Obviously, I didn't agree with the fact that he was going to go to a rookie coach, Nathaniel Hackett, when he first came about. I thought they needed to manage some expectations there, and he turned out not to be the answer. But in hindsight, it's definitely the worst trade ever. As much as they gave up for him, it's even worse than when was it Ditka gave up all that stuff for Ricky Williams?
Yeah,
which might have been the worst trade at one point. But Ricky Williams was at least productive.
I will say I think Zach Wilson is an interesting fit. If Denver's going to stink, you throw a third or fourth or something at the Jets, bring in Zach Wilson, let him play you into high draft picks or something, somebody to take snaps with Sean Payton.
You think so?
I think there's a lot of interesting scenarios. Trubisky could be that guy to go to Denver because they're going to lose. Like, their goal is not to win games, but you still have to give the appearance of trying, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, try. Yeah. We have this defense, and
2 years is a long time in the NFL. As far as
it is,
so many people lose jobs, injuries, all that stuff, and so like you say that Sean Payton afforded himself at least 2 years with this releasing of Russell Wilson, but I mean, if they are that bad this year, if he doesn't show at least some promise with the roster that he has, albeit with a depleted roster, probably not the most talented one, and they only have 6 draft picks this year. They don't have a second round draft pick. All they have is the number 12, and then they have 5 other picks after the second round. So they can't really restock the cupboard this year, and they really can't go after that many high free agents. And so,
that's what I mean is you don't want to. That's not desirable for any other coach. Like, he'll get this year, next year, because they're going to be in salary cap hell with that cap hit for Russell Wilson, and they don't have the picks. So they could still move on after 2 years and then bring in somebody. I think Sean Payton did it smart to buy him. Like, this is his attempt to buy himself more than 2 years, because keeping Russell Wilson, you were done after 2 years regardless.
I also think they did it this year instead of waiting to next year because of the quarterback class this year. Even at number 12, I think the first 3 quarterbacks that everybody says are the top 3, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, are going to be gone before they get there. So unless they're aggressive and move up, they're going to have to choose between Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and J.J. McCarthy at the number 12 pick. But my point is that getting
we'll get to the combine and we'll get to the combine and draft stuff later. But go ahead. That's just the fact that J.J. McCarthy's name is mentioned
this year. Getting somebody that you think could be the future of your squad this year, which I think is what they want to do, and that's why they made the move this year, will help mitigate some of that 40-something dead hit, because they got to spread this $85 million over the next 2 years.
Yeah,
it's not all going to happen this year. And so getting a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract will help mitigate some of that loss. And so they can kind of build around that. So I think that's why the timing of it makes sense for them. and they were able to do it because I think they're going to have to be aggressive. I don't think they could just take a stopgap this year and just wait for the dead space to clear. I don't think Sean Payton can do that and afford to save his job unless he wants to be like a middling, somewhat competitive team to kind of showcase what kind of coaching job he's doing with a less than ideal roster, which is what he's going to have to do something. They're going to have to finish like 8-8 and like be better next year. So I think they're going.
You know what he's going to do?
Yeah,
he's going to trade for Taysom Hill. He's going to trade for Taysom Hill. He's going to be Taysom Hill left, Taysom Hill right, Taysom Hill throw the ball a little bit.
Tim Tebow 2.0 in Denver.
Yeah. You can trade for Taysom Hill. Trade a 7th round pick for Taysom Hill to the Saints.
Here's one. What if if Dallas extends Dak, which they probably have to do, that means Trey Lance might be available for a draft pick. He might be intriguing for some teams. So
yeah. I mean, we can start going down the list, and that's the tough part. You even talk about the college quarterbacks that are likely to come out next year, right? Like Quinn Ewers will probably be at the top of next year's draft when the Broncos do, I believe, have a 1st-round pick again. So, like, I think you suck this year with the hopes of going in and getting a top-flight quarterback next year. If you are sitting there with take J.J. McCarthy in the 1st round or just suck this year, you deserve to be fired and have your team moved if you draft J.J. McCarthy in the 1st round. He is not a 1st-round quarterback.
I think they'll go Bo Nix before they go. I think
if he's there,
some reason he seems like a Denver quarterback to me. I don't know what it is. Bo Nix. He just seems like he's supposed to be in Denver. I don't know if it's the name, if it's the way he carries himself. He just seems like a Denver Bronco. I just can't place my finger on it. So he might be one guy that I can see a team reaching for because he doesn't deserve really to be drafted before the 2nd or 3rd round. But this year, I think, is the year that a lot of teams will reach because we have at least 6 or 7 teams out there that are very quarterback needy. And with the hype that's being placed behind this quarterback class, I think you're going to see a lot of teams jumping over themselves to reach for quarterbacks. Yeah.
Like, look at who's going to become available, and we can just go down a list off the top of our head and who already is available, actually. So Daniel Jones is going to be available at some point. You don't want him, but we're just going to list who is and going to be available. Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Ryan Tannehill, Derek Carr's probably available for a price. Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins. Baker Mayfield is a free agent right now and can sign wherever he wants.
And Tampa just franchised Winfield, so that's not going on Baker. He's going to hit free agency unless they can negotiate something before.
Because they signed Mike Evans to a 2-year deal. So,
and I think out of all of those quarterbacks you just named, I think Baker is the one that I think a lot of teams, ironically, with how he had the unceremonious departure from Cleveland and had to go to L.A. and then had to go to Carolina, right? And then now he's resurrected his career in Tampa, and he's probably, because of his age and because he led this team to the playoffs last year, and he's not coming off an Achilles like Kirk, and you don't have that unknown, he's probably the prize of this quarterback free agent class.
You mentioned Trey Lance. I think Kyler Murray becomes available at some point because he can't just keep getting hurt and not winning in Arizona when you're paying him what you're already paying him. So he'll be available somewhere at some point in time. Probably not this year, but if Arizona's stinky again, he'll be available. So is that a guy that Sean Payton wants to try to do something with? Like, there's going to be options out there of guys, both college and with NFL experience, that still have upside that he could bring in and try to. I mean, Carson Wentz just spent a year under Sean McVay. So, did that do anything for him in that regard?
Mason Rudolph. He's available technically. And he
is available.
He had 3 or 4 games. Yeah. So
he should be the starter in Pittsburgh with what's going on out there.
I can't really argue that. So yeah.
It's not, you're going to get the same result. It'll just look different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kenny's going to win games one way. Mason's going to win games this way. And it's going to be the same thing. Neither guy's going to be a guy that you win a Super Bowl with, right? I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
You're not going to win Super Bowl with Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph. So then it becomes, which way do you want to do it? Which is cheaper? Who can I still get something for? Can you re-sign Mason Rudolph, maybe a little more than what you want to pay him, and can you get a 4th-round pick out of Kenny Pickett if you want to move him? Like, that's all the different stuff you can talk about leading up to draft time. One thing I will talk about, and I'm going to address the smugness of some of the Browns fan base, my brethren. Don't be so quick to be talking about how this Russell Wilson trade is the worst ever, because if Deshaun Watson's tenure ends, that quickly goes to the top of the list.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's
Cleveland can't really say anything about it right now. You guys are in a holding pattern on who has the worst trade ever right now. And mind you, Deshaun.
No Flacco's available. You could have the Flack Academy somewhere, and he can come and groom a young quarterback.
Deshaun went what, 4-1 last year, 5-1.
Like I think 4-1.
4-1. Only lost to us, right? And so, but he didn't play well at all.
Yeah.
But he in that Baltimore game, the last game he played well. But that was his best game.
Yeah.
In the
well, he
Browns
played
game.
well in the second half. He started the game with a pick 6 on a screen pass. So he played well in the second half.
I think you guys would be.
There's been glimpses.
Yeah.
There's been glimpses, but it's hurt. It's now they're changing the offense in Cleveland to something that I think suits him more, which I give a lot of credit to Kevin Stefanski for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kevin Stefanski has always been the type of coach, and maybe this is why I've never been real high on him, is he's going to run his system and he's going to fit square pegs into round holes. I don't care who you are, you're going to run my system. And this is the first time I think I'm starting to see him adjust his system to Deshaun Watson. Now, to be fair, it's a lot easier to make that decision when you have zero idea what or when you may ever get Nick Chubb back. Yeah. This is how many knee injuries for Nick Chubb. I mean, Nick, right, wrong, or indifference, Nick Chubb had to be what the offense was based around before. You can't say that anymore. I mean, we just don't know what you're going to get out of Nick Chubb and when you're even going to get him back, if you'll see him back in a Browns uniform at all, because they need to restructure his deal. But if you just play this season out and Deshaun Watson puts up similar stats on the trajectory that he's put up for the last 2 half seasons that he's played, and then you end up cutting him, that trade quickly, because there will be a lot of dead cap with him because they've kicked the ball down the road on the salary cap for Deshaun Watson.
Well, one thing you guys don't have to worry about is that you have your quarterback at least for next year. I want to do a little bet because we haven't bet in a while. And
by the way, speaking of bets, your shirt is like the best shirt ever for somebody who bets.
Yes.
Like that is the fortune cookie.
Yes. This is why I got it. It applies to so many aspects of my life right now. Not only as an athlete and mentality you have to make it to the pros and NFL,
but as a degenerate gambler.
This is why this is the same mentality I have when I put in those 15-leg parlays. I never lose.
I'm not losing. I'm just not playing enough.
I'm just not doing it. Yeah. I never lose. I either win or I learn. So, but we just named, let's say, who are the most 5 available quarterbacks going into free agency. Let's name the ones that are actual free agents. Kirk Cousins.
Free agency or okay.
We'll do the ones that are actual free agents and then the ones that are most available. So Kirk Cousins, sure. Baker
Mayfield.
I guess that's it as far as free agents goes, right? I'm not going to do Mason Rudolph yet. So let's say Justin Fields is probably top 5 available QBs right now. That could start for a team. Ryan Tannehill. Yeah.
He is a free agent, right?
I'm not even sure. But if he's not the starter in Tennessee next year. So he's available via trade or
– oh, correct. Yes.
Free agent. And give me, let's say, you think Daniel Jones is –
Russell Wilson. We just spent all that time talking about
Russell Wilson. All right. So those are the 5. Let's see who can guess the right teams that these quarterbacks will play for next year. So I'll let you go first. Where will Kirk Cousins be next year?
Kirk Cousins. I'm trying to think of. Now you have to start thinking about who has a need and a fit for something. Kirk Cousins, where he ends up, I think depends on Baker Mayfield. If Baker goes back to Tampa, I think Kirk Cousins is maybe in Washington or New York.
Final answer?
I'll go Washington.
All right, Kirk Cousins, Washington. I say Kirk is in. I'm going either Atlanta or the Raiders. And so I think him and Devontae Adams is intriguing. So I'm going to go Kirk going to the Raiders.
Okay.
All right. So
Kirk is the toughest one. Kirk is the toughest one on that list because he's the only one that's going to demand a big payday. And probably get it. And right. I don't know off the top of my head what the Raiders and the Washington, I don't know their cap situations.
Right.
Atlanta, I'll be honest, I didn't say Atlanta just because everybody's saying Atlanta for Kirk Cousins.
No, that's why I said it because I think we both saw the rumors yesterday that I don't know how anybody would even know that he's thinking about moving his family down to ATL or if it's even because he wants to play for the Falcons. But
he's going to be in there preaching the word in all the clubs in Atlanta, telling people the gospel. I don't know. That's the place for
I can see him in Magic City. You
like
that? You like that?
With his chain on.
With his chain on. You like that? Okay. Baker. Baker. I'm going to say he's going back to Tampa. I think that's probably the easiest bet right there.
I think he's going back to Tampa as well. But if you had to pick somewhere other than Tampa, where would you send him?
If I had to send him somewhere else, I could see
if you think there's somewhere other than Tampa, where would you think Baker would end up?
Minnesota.
I think New England.
Oh, with Jared Mayo. That's an interesting situation. I forgot all about New England, but I can't see them not drafting a quarterback at number 2. So I don't think they would.
No, I think they will, and I think that's what would keep Baker going back to Tampa is New England. Baker has also seen dysfunction, and there's something very dysfunctional about New England right now.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you go, they're in the next era after the GOAT coach is left.
Yeah. If you're Mayo, I wouldn't have taken that job. It's hard when you're looking for your first-time head coach job. I would not have taken that job if I was him.
I think he's taking it because maybe he's gotten some assurances from Kraft that he's going to get the time that he needs to mold.
And that's been the plan that's been in place.
Yeah, to mold it into his likeness because there's no way he can run. Like you wouldn't want him to run the team like Belichick. You have to be almost diametrically opposed to the way he ran the team because you got to make your own.
That shtick doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work.
School.
Right. And like that identity is gone. He's not there anymore. And everything that was there that had any resemblance, you want to get rid of and start to forge your own path as a coach. That's what Tomlin had to do when Cowher, like you replacing a Hall of Fame coach. You can't try to do things like he did. Like you can keep certain aspects of it that fit within the franchise as a whole, but ultimately you have to forge your own path. So we both say Baker's still stay in Tampa. Yep. That's our final. Okay. So Kirk, you got Kirk in Washington. I have Kirk in in Vegas. Both have Baker in Tampa. Justin Fields.
Atlanta.
ATO. I think this is tough for me. Actually, I was going to say Atlanta. I want to say Pittsburgh because, like, I waffle back and forth about, but I think in the Arthur Smith offense, I think it might work for him. But I've been on the record saying that I don't want him on X. So I kind of got to stick with what I said a month or two ago.
It's Twitter, not X. So we need to
I
fix
did
that
say
right
X.
away.
I done broke one of our rules, man. Damn.
Yep, that's
Twitter. It's on Twitter. So I'm going to say
fine.
Justin. I don't think Chicago's going to trade him within the division, even though I don't know why they wouldn't if they don't think that he's good enough to play. But I don't think they'll trade him within the division. So I'm gonna say Atlanta too. Damn it. I didn't want to do that.
I
But
mean, you can't send Kirk Cousins and Justin Fields to Atlanta. How many quarterbacks you gonna send to Atlanta?
no, I got Kirk Cousins in Vegas.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Everybody else has him going to Atlanta. I have him
Yeah.
going to Vegas.
Look at us. Who'd have thought?
We're on the same page so far. I think Justin Fields goes to Atlanta. I think and I actually think that's a scary offense. With
Yeah,
if they can straighten him out,
he can use his tight ends and keep
Right.
Bijan involved.
Right, you're right. He'll make Bijan more of a threat with the way that he can. It's kind of like what Miles Sanders had his breakout year with Hurts last year. All right, so Tannehill. I say Minnesota. I think he's a good stopgap quarterback. I don't know where they're drafting at this year, but I think they're tired of paying big money like they have with Kirk Cousins and getting less than stellar results. And so I think they're looking to the future, but I think they use Ryan Tannehill as a stopgap.
I still think he's destined for Pittsburgh.
You think so?
Yep. Yeah, because I think Arthur Smith will want somebody in there who knows the offense, because if things get off slow, this is the year that they will have a quick hook for Kenny. And he'll want somebody who can go in and run his offense real quick.
Actually, I can't even argue against that at all. And I think I did say that before, but I'm just going to stick with Minnesota just because I can't go 3 times in a row with the same answer. And then I'm going to say Russell Wilson's in Pittsburgh next year.
Okay.
Where do you see Russ going?
If Russ wants to start, I think Minnesota. If Russell gets a big head about where he wants, I could see him ending up in Philadelphia as a backup.
As a backup to Hurts? So when I thought about this earlier this weekend, my picks are all over the place. So let me run down your side of the list first. You got Kirk Cousins going to Washington. You have Baker staying in Tampa. You have Justin Fields going to Atlanta. You have Tannehill going to Pittsburgh and Russ going to Minnesota.
I'll go Minnesota.
Okay. I have Kirk going to Vegas. Baker staying in Tampa. Justin going to Atlanta. Tannehill going to Minnesota and Russ going to Pitt. When I thought about this before, when we first started talking about Russell Wilson and where the most likely scenario he ends up, I thought Russell in Vegas only because his wife is Sierra and that maybe they could get some kind of residency thing going. Because I think at no point in time in NFL, more so than now, has there ever been more things influencing where players end up and things outside of actual football stuff, like with the advent of Taylor Swift and Kelsey and all this stuff. Sierra going to Vegas, I think, would be the move that she would be most happy with. And happy wife, happy life. But I don't think his personality fits with the Antonio Pierce. I can't really see that, but at the same time.
Antonio Pierce will beat him up. He will beat him up.
He would lay hands on him. He would lay hands on him.
He would beat him up. Like, you corny little dude, you little cornball. I am going to beat you up in front of this locker room if you stretch your hamstrings one more time. If you come in here and you say Raiders country, let's ride, I swear I'm going to beat you up in front of the whole team. will be Antonio
Yeah, that was
Pierce.
the only caveat. I can't just see that marriage working out too well.
So I'm a Vegas regular, if you will. When you were out there for the Super Bowl, you called me for directions, and I was off the top of my head able to tell you where to turn and where to go.
Dude, it was impeccable. Like you didn't even have to think. You know how you look in the back of your head trying to recall stuff? No, you just instantaneous.
I know the landmarks.
Yeah.
Vegas is where acts go to die.
Yeah.
And I think Sierra is still too big for that. I don't mean die like literally. I mean, it is a city of nostalgia. Like, look at what plays out there. Celine Dion, Brooks and Dunn. Usher before the Super Bowl was playing Vegas because the only people who wanted to go to Usher concerts at the time were out on vacation.
I think it's kind of shifted a little bit though. Like, because you have Adele out there. It's
starting to because you got Adele and that new Sphere out there. Now, if Sierra was able to wrap something up at the Sphere, I could see it, but I don't.
You got Bruno out there too, right? Bruno's not
occasionally.
Yeah,
I think Bruno pops in and does a show when he's on his way to Spearmint Rhino.
He just needs some pocket change.
That's his reason to go to Vegas, and nobody notices Bruno Mars in Vegas because he's like 5'4", so he's just walking around, flying under the radar, got his glasses on. Gets up on stands like that's what I like. So he does his little thing, but
24 karat.
There are some big, there are. I love some Bruno Mars. We could just have a whole Bruno Mars day one day.
Dude, he's the concert I've been waiting to see. I can't wait to watch him in concert. But go ahead.
But yeah, there's just so many acts out there that are like they're older acts. They haven't put out anything
I can
really
see Sierra having a Usher type resurgence in Vegas, and that she makes good music. She makes some music that makes you want to dance, and
they all make good music. Like I like the music. I would have gone to see Usher, but it's just I don't know. That's the draw to get you to live there.
I mean, I get it. I was just throwing stuff out there. This is what we do in the off season when there's not a lot of sports going on. We got to try to make up stuff. You know how these.
And if we're being honest, Russell Wilson could put some sunglasses on. He could pass for Bruno Mars at the karaoke bars when he's out there.
The thing is, Russell's small. See his cheesy Bruno's so small that Russ looks like Bruno on steroids. But he's still.
You take Bruno. Bruno could like dance in my little hand. Like he's up there doing like do it, Bruno.
He is a tiny man, but he puts on one hell of a show.
The Weeknd, get the Weeknd out there. Get Bruno, Sierra, and the Weeknd. I like the Weeknd.
So let me ask you this: hard shift. What have you done sports-wise since football? Since football has ended, have you picked up something that has happened? And I will say this: like the NBA for the longest has had a regular season problem. Like their games haven't been exciting, but since All-Star Game, the NBA has actually been very entertaining to watch. They're playing like they care. They're playing like they're getting ready for the playoffs. And on top of that, we have March Madness around the corner. Where is your basketball at right now? Your basketball knowledge, where's your basketball? Have you been viewing it? Have you been taking it all in? Let me know.
I've been starting to dabble into the college basketball. And by that, I mean, it's the background noise. I got some golf on. So let me give you another pet peeve of mine, though. I was actually fully into the gambling game was strong before my cruise. Okay, I was betting on the NBA. I was doing my thing. I was winning. Paying attention to the trends and who's doing what. Norwegian does not show sports on their cruises.
What the hell? If this is the cruise you wanted me to come on? I mean, I know we would have had a good time, but no sports, no music.
So they have their sports channel. They have one sports channel on the television. And I've been on many cruises before. So normally you got your TV in the cabin and it's got one sports channel, but it's kind of whatever's going on. Apparently Norwegian's deal is like with Amazon Europe or something because there was speed sailing on my television and 5-day-old cricket games.
Like, so you went like a whole week with no basketball.
Yeah, it was All-Star break too when I was gone. Okay. So that played into it. So but they showed like one Lakers Warriors game the whole week that I was on the cruise.
Wow.
But I learned this. The last cruise I went on was Norwegian, and it was in the fall. And it irritated me because normally you go to the sports bar or the casino. Hey, I did come up in the casino. That was fun. Taught some people how to play craps. So that was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But normally you go to the casino or whatever, and they have the sports on there. And the last cruise I went on, it was a Saturday, college football Saturday. Cruise didn't until Sunday. I went up there and like, hey, I think Ohio State was playing Wisconsin. It's like, what channel is the game going to be on? What game? I was like, you are dead to me. What are you? Any game. Pick one.
What game?
I'll watch Tennessee Martin at this point. I've been on this godforsaken ship for 6 days. Just put something on. Short answer to your question, I was fully ingrained in getting into the mojo and the rhythm. I haven't placed a single bet since I got back from the cruise because I just fell out of the loop of all my trends. I don't even know where to pick up again. And I have a cousin who he bets on ping pong. So now I'm following ping pong.
That's the thing?
Yeah. Because in Florida, there's one app you can bet on in Florida. So I met up with him while I was in Florida, and he was like, let me show you this. Look at this guy. His last name was like Make-A-Jew or something like that. He's like, he wins me money every week. He's like watching it. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So now I'm like, oh, Make-A-Jew's about to play, and I'm watching ping pong.
Actually, the times that it does come on, it's actually pretty entertaining because they be hitting that damn ball. Oh my goodness.
Boom.
Back, dude,
they get after it.
They get after it. And ping pong is not for the faint of heart, man. I've played it before, just regular amateur version of it. And I break out into full sweat.
Just a little.
Try to act like
Listen, I was playing with my son on the ship, and I took the ping pong ball, and I tried to do that whole thing right there, like when you spin it over. And he was like, what are you doing? I was like, it's not going to spin, but you're going to think it's going to spin. If I keep doing this motion.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, I'm getting primed up for March Madness though. So what about you?
I'm pretty excited. My Northwestern Wildcats are going to be in the tournament this year. They've done well.
Your basketball school.
Yeah.
Your basketball program's done well the past few years.
They have. Chris Collins has done an amazing job. And it's with all the negative attention that has been coming out of Northwestern athletics this past year with the football team and the baseball team. And it's good to have something to root for. We got a kid by the name of Boo Booey. That's a name for you, right? Our point guard.
Great name.
Our point guard is who's been putting on a show this year. He's probably has a good chance of being first or second team All-American this year, which I don't think we've ever had at Northwestern. We had a dude by the name of, this is a throwback, I wonder if you've heard of this name, by the name of Evan Eschmeyer, who used to play for the Dallas Mavericks, who played for Northwestern back in like the mid to late 90s. I think that might have been our only NBA player that I can remember the last 2 or 3 decades, but I think Boo Booey's going to be that guy. So it's been exciting as a Northwestern Wildcat fan, watching us and getting primed and ready and having a reason to get excited for March Madness. And so, but it's made me watch other teams. It's made me watch Duke, which in North Carolina and Kansas, all the blue bloods that are good, but still very, I think in this day and age where you have the one and dones, and now you got the NBA converting back to high schoolers being able to go to the NBA, and you have all these G leagues and D leagues and L leagues and Drew leagues and whatever the hell. You have all these different options for kids coming out of high school that you thought that maybe college would suffer. I think it's better than ever now because you got guys that have been there for 4 or 5 years, for 3 or 4 years, playing, maturing through the college game, and I think the games are a lot more competitive. So I'm really excited about what March Madness brings to us. And I know we talked about doing a March Madness episode and getting our wives on board with their brackets to see why they picked the teams they picked. So another reason to get excited for March Madness.
My wife beats me every year. She beats me every year.
Are you talking about March Madness or she just beats you?
Yeah. Oh, she beat.
I
just ran into a door, okay? I just ran into a door, Trai.
So were you wearing those sunglasses the other day? Just
no, her bracket does better than mine like every year. Okay. So this year I'm having her fill out a bracket just I'm like, who'd you pick? So I can bet on that. I need to I need to go ahead and bet in the app
Yeah.
and win a little
Dude,
$1.79.
I'm gonna do one either through the CBS or the ESPN March Madness app. I'm gonna send it to you. You send it to Liz. Christina's gonna do one. We're gonna have a whole bunch of. We're gonna put $20
Oh, it'll
on
be
it.
fun.
Yeah, we're gonna
It'll
see.
be fun.
No, but I'm excited about that. I'm also excited.
Just tell her we'll put $20 on it, but if she asks, it was free because if she wins, I'm keeping that.
Okay, touche. That's y'all fun our next boys' night out. Yes.
Yeah, no, she likes doing that. She ran when she was in college, she ran a fantasy football league one year.
Really?
She does nothing but draft players based off their names. Like she started rooting for the Cavs when we were dating because of Zydrunas Ilgauskas. And she was like, oh, I've got to have his jersey. So like it was a full thing. The night they retired his jersey in Cleveland, she was like, we have to have tickets. I have to go up and see this.
Dude, I was an Ilgauskas fan, but he does have one of those names that kind of just is fun to say. It's fun to say.
She just recently stumbled across Jokic.
Dude, Nikola Jokic.
Because she saw him doing like some weird thing with the jump ball in one of the games or something. She's like, I have a new favorite player because she's just been torn and down in the dumps ever since Z retired. She liked Anderson Varejao a little bit. Sasha Pavlovich. She likes Sasha Pavlovich.
Oh, she just likes all the European guys, huh?
Just all the weird name
There's
dudes.
no American names that she's interested in. Maybe she'll like Boo Booey.
Well, as soon as you started saying it, I was like, man, wait till I tell her about this guy's name because she's gonna be wearing Northwestern gear for March Madness.
That's all I wanted. That's all I needed to hear.
She's not allowed to be your good luck charm for Northwestern, too.
Yes, she is, man. Yes, she is. We've already discussed this. She's my good.
There's no problem there. So yeah, we'll do March Madness bracket. We're gonna have a guest. I'm so excited about this. We're not gonna let the lid off yet.
Oh man, I was about to give a clue.
My level of excitement for the guest. It's not natural, but I don't know that I've ever laughed as much as when I watched this person's video.
Mm-hmm.
So getting to know him, we're gonna get to talk to him and know him. So I think we'll have that later on this week. We're gonna do another one this week.
Yes, most definitely.
And then we got real quick. Was Max? Did you talk to anybody at the combine? That stupid event, that meat market.
Did I talk to anybody like that was participating in it or that was there?
No, just that was there. Like, do the people covering it have a good time there?
Well, Indy, and I'll let the cat out the bag a little bit right here. Coaches enjoy going to the combine. Not only the scout players, they do that. Obviously, they got to do their job. Indianapolis does a good job of letting coaches let their hair down a little bit. There's this place called St. Elmo's. They have this private room where some of the former players go, some of the coaches, and they just kick it. They sit there.
Oh, really?
They shoot the shit. They drink the drinks. They eat all the shrimp cocktail.
That's the place. Somebody sent me a picture of the shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, that's like their claim to fame.
That's why I heard that name.
Yeah. So they're at the bars, they're karaoke. The coaches and scouts have a good time at the combine. It's not all work and no play.
That makes sense because I've always wondered, like, we've legit moved the location of the NFL draft, but the scouting combine is untouchable. It's awful. Yeah. You can find any arena or dome in the country that have people run 40-yard dashes and bench press. But it's never talked about moving the NFL combine out of Indianapolis. So I'm just like, it's great for me. It's so close. I mean, maybe next year we'll have to make our way up there, get a little.
It's a very convenient, and because Indy is low key, because the weather, and you don't see a lot of the locals coming out. Really, the coaches kind of do their thing in secrecy. They don't have to worry. If you take it to a place like Miami or LA, it's just going to be too much going on and too many eyes.
And there's too many other people there.
Many other people. Keep it in Indy.
Chicago and New York and stuff like that. Now you can just go up, do your little secret knock on the door, and then you're in there and you get to go and have some shrimp cocktails and a few drinks.
Dude, yeah, and it's like a big cheers. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And so these guys go to the same
Oh,
place, they have the same owner, same
oh,
bar, and they know exactly what these coaches and these scouts and these GMs and all these other front office folks drink and what they eat. And it's just a comfortable place for the coaches to go. So, like, they're trying to bid out future combines, but they're getting some pushback from the coaches and from the front office folks because they
well,
really don't want to
yeah.
move.
I mean, I can imagine Bill Belichick goes there, and Betty's been waiting on him for 42 years in Indianapolis. They got
Yeah,
pictures of each other's great grandkids hanging in their wallets because she makes her nut every time that Bill comes to town and gives
you
her
can
that good
always
tip.
go. Maybe get you a crafty somewhere, So
Oh, God. Oh, and with that, I think that ends it for us today.
oh
But all
yeah.
right, man, it's good to be back. Had fun. We'll do it again in a couple days.
All right, sounds good.